All right, so we're always told that privacy is this sacred freedom, right? And that surveillance is the big bad wolf ready to gobble it all up. But what if that's not the whole story? What if we've got it backward? Today we're going to dive into a pretty wild idea from David Brin's book, The Transparent Society. It suggests that the very thing we're so afraid of might actually be our best hope.
I mean, really think about it for a second. What's one of our biggest modern fears? It's probably losing our privacy, isn't it? The thought of a world with cameras on every single corner, it's terrifying. But here's the kicker. What if that constant watchfulness, that total surveillance we're so scared of, could somehow be the key to a more free and a more just world? It sounds crazy, I know.
And that's the core argument of the book. It basically says, look, trying to build higher and higher walls to protect our privacy, it's a losing game. Technology is always going to find a way around them. So the real answer isn't to run and hide. It's to turn around and demand that the spotlight shines on everyone, especially the people at the top.
Okay, let's get into it. What does this world without secrets even look like?
Now, it's so important to get this straight. This is not a vision of some top-down Big Brother police state. In fact, the idea is the complete opposite. It's a future where a massive flood of information, let's call it light, doesn't control us, it empowers us. The theory is, when it's almost impossible for anyone to keep secrets, including the powerful, then accountability becomes a two-way street.
But of course, a vision like this hinges on technology. And as we all know, tech is the classic double-edged sword. And let's be real, this isn't some distant sci-fi future. This is our life, right now. We've got CCTV on street corners, GPS in our phones. The tools for surveillance are literally all around us. So the question isn't if this technology exists, it's who gets to control it.
And this is where things get tricky, right? Because we can all see the good side. Sure, it can help stop crime, it can help law enforcement catch real bad guys, but we also feel the dark side, that kind of chilling effect, where you start to watch what you say, you self-censor, and of course the huge potential for governments and giant corporations to abuse that power.
David Brin really nails it with this quote. He says, the real challenge is finding that balance. How do we get the security we need without totally gutting the liberties that the security is supposed to protect in the first place? It's a real tightrope walk.
And all of this tension, it really brings us to what you could call the great privacy dilemma of our time. I mean, check out this paradox we're all living in. For ourselves, we demand absolute privacy. But for our institutions, we demand total transparency. It's like we want our own lives to be a locked vault, but we expect governments and corporations to live in a house made of glass. It doesn't quite add up, does it?
And this isn't just some abstract idea. Just think about the whole NSA mass data collection scandal. The stated goal was national security, but to millions of people, it felt like a massive invasion of privacy. Or what about Cambridge Analytica? They said they were just doing targeted advertising, but it ended up being a masterclass in political manipulation. In both these cases, what they said they were doing and what actually happened, well, they were miles apart. This is the battle we're facing right now.
Okay, so if we're stuck in this dilemma, is there a way out? Well, the book's answer is pretty radical. It says we need to stop fighting the tech and instead flip the whole power dynamic on its head.
Here's the core of it. Don't try to block the cameras. Seize them. The idea is, if our world is going to be flooded with light anyway, we have to make sure that light shines on everybody equally, not just from the top down.
I mean, if you look at history, watching has always been a one-way street, right? The powerful people, the kings, the governments, the big companies, they've always watched the public. They had all the information, and because of that, they had all the power.
But this vision of a transparent society completely flips that around. The idea is that citizens get the tools to watch the powerful just as closely. It's a concept called surveillance, which literally means watching from below. A perfect example? Anyone with a smartphone filming a police officer. That's it in action. It creates this feedback loop, this mutual accountability.
And you know what? There's actually real-world data to back this up. The book points to countries in Scandinavia, for example, where the governments are incredibly transparent about what they do. And the result? People there perceive very little corruption, and they have way more trust in their institutions. It really seems like when people can actually see what their leaders are doing, trust just follows.
And the potential upsides here are massive. Think about it. If it's harder to be corrupt, things get fairer. When regular people have access to real information, they can make better decisions, they can get more involved. And this is huge. Transparency can empower marginalized communities by shining a bright light on the kinds of injustices that only happen in the dark.
So that all sounds great, but how do we actually build this future? Because let's be clear, this isn't some utopia that's just going to magically appear. The book is very clear that this is something we would have to build deliberately and very, very carefully.
Yeah, just throwing more information out there is not a magic fix. In fact, without some really strong ethical rules, a transparent society could easily turn into a total nightmare of fake news and digital mob justice. This whole thing has to be built with a very clear ethical framework from the ground up.
And the book lays out 3 absolute cornerstones for this. First, data has to be accurate. We need ways to verify info and correct it, because we know how easily misinformation can be used as a weapon. Second, consent. You have to have control over how your own personal data is used. And third, a right to be forgotten, so that one stupid thing you did when you were 20 doesn't follow you around for the rest of your life like a digital ghost.
So how does it happen? Well, it's kind of like a chain reaction. It has to start with us, with individuals, demanding accountability. That pressure then forces organizations to be more open. And when enough organizations are doing it, that pressure pushes governments to pass laws that actually protect transparency and the people who expose wrongdoing. See? Each step makes the next one possible.
And that's the endgame right there. The whole argument is that if we embrace this idea of radical openness, but do it smartly with the right protections in place, we could actually build a world that's just more fair. A world where we can trust our institutions again, not because we're told to, but because we can see for ourselves.
Which leaves us with a really powerful final thought. The technology for this transparent society, it's not coming, it's already here. It's not going away. So the choice we have to make isn't if we're going to live in a world of surveillance. The real question is, who's going to be in control? Is it going to be a one-way mirror where the powerful get to watch the rest of us? Or could it be a two-way window where we can all see each other and everyone, top to bottom, is held accountable?